Hello world, hopefully the audio is good. And today we're going to go ahead and dive more into SwiftData, which is the new data persistence framework from Apple for iOS 17. So from my understanding, it's just built on top of Core Data, but now we get to do it all in code, don't have to mess around with a bunch of other junk. So really simple to do app. We'll have a view for if there's no content, and then if we just go ahead and create a new file here, or a new file, go ahead and create a new to-do. So we can say make coffee, like that. Now let's save, and then we've got make coffee. And then I can also go in here and we can go write some code. And we can also do something like walk the dog. And now we've got a couple of to-do items. And to check it off, you don't click on it or tap on it. You just swipe. So I can say make coffee. And I can swipe walk dog. And it puts the done items at the top and the non-done items at the bottom. And we can say, oh, I actually forgot to make coffee. I'll undo that, and puts it back in there. And then I've got walk the dog checked off. The other two are not checked off, but I got 3 items. I can quit the app completely. And when I open it back up, SwiftData persists it for us. So that's what we'll be working on today. If that's interesting, let's go ahead and dive in. Let's go ahead and quit the app. Boom. And go ahead and just delete this app. I'm going to go remove, delete. We're going to go ahead and create a new project. So we'll go create a new project. We'll call this to-do data. I don't know. And we'll go ahead and hit next, and we'll go ahead and hit desktop, and we'll go ahead and hit create. All right. Go ahead and make this full screen. Just gonna close that down. Actually, we'll open that back up. I have one thing. So for simplicity, we're gonna create this all in one file. Like I said, keeping things simple. Minus this at main section. So here we need to do 2 things. First, we need to import SwiftData, like so. And then we also need, so actually we need to do 3 things. We need to import SwiftData. We also need to make a data model, a class, so that we can structure our data and then use that. So, go something like this. Data model. And we'll say, yeah, that's all. We'll just say that. Move this to your own file if you want, however you want to do things. We're just going to put it here because being lazy, I guess. So we're going to prefix our class with at model. So this just converts a Swift class into a stored model that's managed by SwiftData. So it makes things really easy for us. We make it a class, and we call this to-do, like so. We don't have to conform to anything or subclass, like this is not a subclass for anything. So really simple like that. There's our class. We're going to create 2 properties. It's going to be both variables. We'll have a to-do item, and this is just going to be a string, like so. We're also going to have a variable for if the item is done or not. So this is going to obviously change because actually the item might, maybe we'd make it a constant. I don't know if we're going to change it. We don't have editing abilities in this app yet. Maybe I'll add it later. I don't know. So anyway, this one's just going to be is done, and this will be of type bool. So a Boolean value, like so. Now we should get a complaint here because we need an initializer because we're working with classes here. Thankfully, it's really easy. You just type in in, like start like you're typing in init, so specialized function for initializing our classes. And you can see Xcode here has already suggested what we need to do. So we hit enter, and it takes care of it for us. Really handy. So that's our entire model. I don't know if you've done a lot of data persistence or worked with core data, but I mean, that's a lot simpler in my opinion. Not that I'm a core data master, but I have used it in the past. I feel like it's been a year or two now, but yeah, so that's it. There's another step we do, and the reason why I wrote this in here is because we have one more step we're going to do inside of our to-do data app. So down here on the content view, we want to go ahead and go .model container, not context, container. And this sets the model container in this view for storing the provided model type, creating a new container if necessary, and also sets our model context for that container in the view's environment. So go ahead and do that. We're going to, here in the for, we're going to just make an array. So you could actually have multiple data objects. In our case, we're just going to be dealing with one, and that is going to be the to-do dot self, like so. This auto save enabled. I'm not gonna complete that because I think if I remember correctly, that's actually true by default. Sets the model container, and I'm just hitting to get more of this. You're like, oh, what was this again? You just go option click, and you can check in here. So you can see, yeah, is auto save enabled? True by default. I mean, you can change that. So that's everything we need to do in our to-do underscore or dash, whatever snake case. That's it. We're good to go. So we are going to move on to our content view. And I'm going to go Command 0, make a little more room. We're going to go ahead and pull this over, and we're going to start building out some views. So first off, we want to create a to-do item view. So we'll go ahead, I'll just put this under here, say dash dash mark to-do view. And then inside of here, we will go ahead and build out a struct or a structure, call them struct, whatever. This is going to be called to-do item view. Oops, to-do item view. And this is going to conform to the view protocol because we're going to make this a view. Oh, that's pretty snazzy. Just hit enter. Okay, Xcode 15 I think has a lot more auto-completion. That was really nice. I just typed out view, and it already knew that when we conform to view, we have to have a computed property of body with some view. That's pretty nice. So here we're going to go ahead and start. We'd obviously want to add our views here. So add hstack. But we also want to add two additional things before we go ahead and add our views. So we'll need to add our @environment. There's just going to be an environment. So this is a property wrapper that reads value from the view's environment. And when we went over here and we said, our model container, sets the model container in this view for storing the provided model types, and it creates a new container if necessary, and also sets the model context for the container in this view's environment. So environments and stuff. I don't know, that's what I think I was going with that. So we'll go environment, and then inside there we're going to go open parenthesis, and we're going to use key path. I always forget this one. Backslash period anyway, and we're going to go model. So here's the SwiftData model context that will be used for queries and other model operations within this environment. So inside of our to-do item view, this is going to be like a row. Actually, we could have called it to-do item row. It doesn't matter too much. We're going to be able to run an action when we do a swipe action. So that's why we're pulling this in here. We're going to make it private to this struct, so we're not sharing. Don't overshare in Swift, because that's never good. Makes things more complicated, or can. So we're going to call this context, because we're dealing with the model context. So make sure I spelled context. Yep, looks like it's good. So that's set up. And then we're also going to create a to-do property. So var to-do, which is going to be of type to-do, like so. So I think that's the properties we need. Now we can go ahead and start building out our view. And in here, we're going to create, like I said, I think we're going to create an H stack. Hit enter there. I don't think we'll do anything special with alignment. Inside of our H stack, we will, nope, see now we've got hello world popping. Oh, because our content view here is previewing that. If we wanted, we could go comment that out, and then we could just go to do item view. Nope. Backslash to do item why isn't it to do item view? Yep. Paste that in there. Open parentheses. Yeah, I'm not gonna mess with that right now. Anyway, content view is fine for previewing at the moment. So H stack. So in here we're gonna do. So we're going to vertically stack, or horizontally, we have an image and a text. And our image is just going to indicate like a check mark whether it's done or not. That's not really necessary, I guess, because we're also looking at like a strike through. But here we're going to go ahead and go image. We're going to use system image. And we're going to have two strings here because we're going to make this image, like I said, kind of change depending on the status, like if we're checked off or not. So we're going to use a ternary operator, which is just a shorthand if statement. So to do, and then we're going to use a question mark. Oh, actually we're going to go to do, and we're going to access that property. So is this to do item done? If it's done, we want to go check mark. We're going to do one image, otherwise we're going to do another image here. So I'm going to put my cursor inside the string, go Command-Shift-L, and we're going to look for check mark dot circle, and if it's done, we're going to have it a filled circle, like so. Otherwise, I think I can actually just copy that and make it a plain circle. So pretty straightforward, I think, so far. Again, we're building up the UI. We kind of set up our SwiftData, and we're going to deal with that here in a little bit, but yeah. So here we're going to have some text. We're going to have it be to do dot item, and then here we're going to add a few modifiers to add our strike through and our foreground style. So in iOS, I think this is on iOS 17 where it got deprecated, but it'll tell us here in a second. So let's go with the strike through first. So we can do a strike through, which applies a strike through to the text, which is pretty cool. And we can also kind of set up if it's active or not. So in here, we're going to use a lot of ternary operators here, actually. It's a lot cleaner than writing if statements everywhere. So, so if the to-do is done, we can say true. True meaning it's got a strike through it. And then otherwise false. If I can spell false like that. Then we're going to do the foreground style. So foreground, and you have style here, but there's foreground color that we used to use. So foreground color will be deprecated in future versions of iOS. So it's been renamed to foreground style. So go ahead and use that. And here, again, we're going to do this ternary operator because it just makes it so fun. Is done. And we're going to say if it is, all right, we're going to do secondary, otherwise primary. I think that's the right order to colors. All right, I think that's good for our text. Now, what I'd like to add, and let me know if the audio is good. I looked at it briefly, but I think the audio should be good. Anyway, let me know. So now we're going to add a swipe action to this entire H stack. And that way we can, again, maybe I should call this row instead of item, but let me know if I should change the name. Otherwise, we're going to go swipe action. So adds a custom swipe action to a row in a list. Yeah, I feel like I should have called this row. Maybe we'll change that. But here we're going to add a button inside of this. So we're going to go button, and our button is going to have just a title. So this is, again, we're going to use the ternary operator to do dot is done, and then we're going to say, and the reason is because we're kind of reusing this row throughout, so I don't want to like make two rows where there's like a is done row and there's not done row. Here we're just going to use a ternary operator to kind of do some of that for us. So we'll say not done, so if we've checked it off, we can uncheck it off. We can toggle the value between if we completed it or not. So we're going to go done or not done, and then we are going to say otherwise. We're going to just say done. And then, I'm going to undo that line. We're going to write the actual action that this body or this function performs. So, do stuff. Well, first off, we want to go to do dot is done dot toggle. And that just toggles the value back and forth. Here, we want to call a function. But we haven't written a function yet, so let's go ahead and do that. So if we scroll down, one other thing I'll do before we call the function, we'll set our tint color for our button, because if you ever do like the swipe action, you can set like custom colors. Button dot tint, and again, ternary operator to do dot is done. And we're going to go question mark dot red, otherwise dot green. All right, so we're going to go outside of our computed property here, our body property, and we're going to write our first function for the day, or my first function for the day. I don't know, maybe all of you have been up writing Swift code for a while. I don't think I don't know. Can't remember what I've been doing today. Spacing. Oh, so this will be our button to persist our data. So we'll just call it persist. Persist, I think that's right. Data. And for the parameter, We're going to go persist data 4. I think that reads okay because you always want your functions to kind of read nice. You want your Swift code in general to read nice. So we're going to say 4, which is going to be what's going to, if you have questions on passing in parameters, definitely let me know. I'll just say, go with that. We'll go to do. Basically, 1 is for external use, 1's for internal use. And this is going to be a to-do item that we're going to pass in. We're not going to return anything. We are just going to, if I scroll down a little bit, we're just going to get access to that context, so that model context. And then we're going to go dot insert. So insert model, no, insert. And then we're going to be inserting that to do that we're getting passed in from when we call the function. All right, right now I'm just going to print a local error. If something goes wrong, you could pop up an alert and say, oh, we didn't save it. Something went wrong when we were trying to save it. But we're going to have to do a do catch block here. And for our try, we're going to try and save our to-do item. So context dot save. So this is why we have to do the try catch, because this is a throwing function. The save button I got, or the save here. If we go option click, error thrown. What am I getting an error thrown from here? Not handled. Oh, well, because in closing catch blah. All right. So in here we're just gonna print. Oh, sorry, I didn't see that the live chat was getting chatted. Hello, is it a good move to start by learning UIKit before SwiftUI or not? I would say no, and my reasoning for that, I apologize, hopefully you didn't comment this like forever ago and left. I'm talking to myself. I would say no. For here, let's assume are you like a beginner, like just starting to learn code, or you're just kind of transitioning over to iOS. But either way, let's say you're just starting to learn how to program apps. You probably want to see, like, I think it's motivating when you can like sit down and you're programming something and you see results. So with SwiftUI, you can get results real fast. And also with SwiftUI, you can get a lot of your UI taken care of, because SwiftUI is a UI framework. You can get UI built out a lot quicker, a lot swifter, and a lot of the UI complexities of like building out using UIKit storyboards or building out programmatically, or however you want to do it in that world of UIKit or UI development. SwiftUI handles a lot of that for you. It makes your life a lot easier, which allows you to spend more time learning, in my opinion, how to architecture your app, how to deal with the logic of your app, how to ask questions like, well, I've got my UI taken care of, now how do I separate out the business logic, and how do I big old crash up there. It sounds like everything's fine. So SwiftUI takes care of a huge problem for you, which is UI. UI development can be a real pain in the butt, even with SwiftUI, but it can definitely be a pain in the butt using UIKit for multiple reasons. So I would say start with SwiftUI, and this allows you to get apps developed, so you can have a portfolio of apps, because one of the things you might get asked when you're doing it in a job interview, or if you're doing it for yourself, like just want to make your own things, obviously you don't care, but it'll make you build apps a lot quicker. I think for the most part, yes, on going all in on SwiftUI. Let's say you're a couple months into it and you start picking up some freelance work, or you're building out your own apps. If you're building out your own apps, I don't think you'd really need to dive into UIKit at all at this point. But let's say you do get hired by someone and they're like, hey, we already have an app. It's already got UIKit code. So you're going to have to work with that a little bit. So at some point, you may have to learn a little bit of UIKit code. But for context here, the past 3 years of my development career has been 90%, 95% Swift UI. Back in 2019, I did deal with a little bit of Swift UI and UIKit mix for a client project because the project was already started in UIKit. And it was a small project with a smaller client, so we were able to start like, hey, you're gonna deploy to iOS 13, right? Sweet, we'll start mixing in Swift UI now. So that was a mixed project. In December, I think, of 2020, I started working on a new project, and it was a ground-up project, so we just did all Swift UI. And then later in 2020, I think it was later that year, started another client project. There's 3 different apps for him. It was all Swift UI. And then I think it was 2021. My timelines might be a little off. You can check my LinkedIn. You can see. Anyway, but at that point, I got hired on to work on a contract with USA Mobile. And that project is a very old project. It had code all the way back to 2008, I believe. So there was Objective-C in there. There was a bunch of UIKit code in there. So we did have to work with UIKit a little bit, but the little tiny bit of UIKit code that we had to work with was mainly just making sure that it worked with our new code we were building out. And I mean, you could spend an afternoon or a day kind of Googling and figuring out a few things and do that kind of integration. So for the most part, the past 3 years, in my experience, has been Swift UI. So that's why I think pretty much you can get away with it. And a lot of companies I've been interviewing with seem to be Swift UI or are integrating over. So again, you wouldn't really have to write a lot of UIKit. You just have to play around with how the two work together. So maybe that would be important. But I think you could build like 5 or 6, 10 apps in Swift UI, get comfortable programming a little bit, and then, when you need to kind of learn UIKit. But that's my take. If I want to find a job in a company, can I find only SwiftUI required? Yes. I've actually seen job postings where like SwiftUI is listed as a bonus. So I guess they're assuming some UIKit code. But I think from my experience, again, this is my experience, it could be totally different where you live. And I live in Washington, so around Seattle-ish area. But I've also been applying for plenty of so I'm in between contracts right now. So I'm actually been going through a few interviews. And most of it's Swift UI, I would say. The remote stuff and the stuff more locally around Washington area. It really depends on what you're building. Swift UI has its benefits and UIKit as well. I've used both at the same time working at my last company I worked at. Yeah, both have benefits for sure. But if you're interested in getting a job, I think you can definitely get a job with Swift UI experience. And just, if, like, on bigger companies, you're going to probably have to... Oh, you live in Gig Harbor? That's crazy. I'm not very far from there. I actually live down in Olympia. That's pretty crazy. That's cool, yeah. Washingtonians. Oh, that's pretty cool. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. But yeah, I don't know if I went off on too ranty there. Well, hopefully I answered some questions. Again, my experience. I'm glad we've got in the chat some other experience. Like definitely anyone in the chat who's been working, contracting, or at a company or something, definitely put in some advice, because everything I'm saying is just my experience and my opinions. So I'd love to hear some more. But yeah. I do get that question a bit. I should probably just make I don't know, but then sometimes I have ideas for random videos and I'm like, but those are just, they're not coding or technical or anything. They're just kind of like, here's my opinion videos, which, no, I don't know. Okay, kind of, we're printing out the error here. I'm not dealing with handling errors right now. Localized description. So I think this view Oh, we do need to call our function. But otherwise, I think this view is actually pretty much built out. So we're going to persist the data here. And I think that reads nicely, but definitely let me know. Like, does that read okay? Persist data 4, and then you pass in your to-do item that you have. So, to-do. Yeah, I think that view's pretty solid. One suggestion I would say is maybe instead of to-do item view, maybe say to-do row view. Like that. Maybe that's a little better. But that's I don't know. I don't know when. I don't know if you're still on the live stream, but it would be kind of cool. Years ago, like 2019, I think, before all the pandemic and everything, I went to a couple events around Seattle and Redmond, and they were bigger events, but it would be kind of cool if there were some local people to maybe do like get-togethers or something, but I don't know. Meet people in real life. Yeah. So that's that. I think the next step is building out our list view. I'm just going to copy this function because we will use it again, and we'll just put it here. I know there's code duplication, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. And we're getting complaints because we haven't, this particular view doesn't have our environment context yet. So let's go ahead and grab that. Take care of that issue. And we'll have to add just a few more properties here for querying like our to-dos, or creating like a list that we can go through. Oh, what's this? And he add this at the moment yet. I used to go to the iOS meetup. Yeah. I don't remember what I think they're called, Xcoders maybe. I could be wrong, but yeah, I have not come across it. But it's randomly, I think. I wonder. I'm sure there's a lot of techie and developer people around here. Again, I'm a little further south, but it seems like around here it's a lot more .NET and like web development, like locally, a lot of government jobs. So. But yeah. So this allows us to, and I was having issues with this, so the way that I did my sorting is a little differently, but I think in theory you're supposed to be able to, open parentheses, do a sort, and stuff like that, but I was having all kinds of issues, so the way I'm doing this is just doing a @query, and then creating a variable, and then creating like all to-dos. And this is just going to be of type an array of our to-do items, like so. And then what did I unknown? Oh, because we didn't import SwiftData here, so we need to import SwiftData, like so, and that should take care of our query issue. And then option click there. Get open in developer documentation there. I think I also had I had two state properties for and you could break one of them out, but we're gonna have a state property for displaying our sheet so that we can actually add in to-do items. So is add to-do sheet showing like that, and we're going to assign it false. Ooh, that's weird. No, false. And then we're also going to create @state private var text field, and we're just going to have like an empty string there. I don't know. Sometimes I bounce between like that or just doing like a initializing an empty string, but same thing. I don't know what preference all of you have, but we'll go like that for now. So here's all our properties. This just gives us access to our model context. This is our to-do items, and this prefixing with @query should allow us to. Let's open developer documentation. Not a lot of documentation. It's a macro query. So a property wrapper that fetches a set of models and keeps those models in sync with the underlying data. So that's what it allows there. This is just for when we want to present our sheet modally, and this is for a text field inside that sheet because we're building it inside our content view. How long have we been on this? 36 minutes. Okay. I'm not trying to make these too long, so I'm trying to like I want to talk and interact, so if there's talking, that's fantastic, but I'm trying to stay somewhat focused and not just ramble too much. But anywho, so we're going to get rid of all this, and we're going to go ahead and create a navigation stack. And inside of our navigation stack, we're just going to create a group because we're going to have two kind of states. We can have a state where like there's no to-do items, and we're going to have like another one where there's an actual list. So group like so. And inside of our group, we're going to have a some conditional logic. So if the all to-dos dot is empty, we want to set up a content unavailable view. So just an interface consisting of a label and additional content that you display when the content of your app is unavailable. So pretty handy. And we're going to put a title or just a string, and then put like nothing to do here. And then you also want to put a image into this. So we're going to use a system image, and so there we go. We got nothing to do here, and it's the right, font, thickness, size, all that. It's kind of like a good empty state, like in a mailbox app or something like that. And then for our image, we'll go Command-Shift-L, and I think it's called clipboard. All right, double click on that, and we got a nice little like inactive state, so that's nice. And then if we do have content, we can then write that in our else statement. Here we're going to go ahead and create a list. List. And in this list, we're going to write our for each. And we're going to use our all to-dos. And we're going to, this is where I'm going to do the sorting. Don't know if this is the best way. I was thinking that we could do it inside of when we created our query property on line 13, but I haven't got it to work yet, so we're just going to do it this way. So we're going to get it sorted, and inside here, we're going to go ahead and do $0 dot is done, and bam, exclamation mark, $1 dot is done. It's not done because we're doing the not operator there. And then we're going to go to do in, and inside here, it's getting a bit nested here, but it's okay for now. And here, I'm standing. If I'm moving around more than usual, it's because I put my desk up because I guess I wanted to stand today. I don't know. But here we're going to use that to-do item, or to-do row view that we made earlier. And then we're going to pass in our to-do. So to-do, like so. And I think that's all for there. We just want to navigate down. We're going to scroll down to our group, so line 29 dot nav title to do app. I don't know if we need to say to do app. That's silly. We'll just say to do. And then here we're going to go ahead and add a toolbar bar. And inside of our toolbar, we're going to create a toolbar item. And inside of here, we're going to create our button, even though I think we actually do placement like that. And we'll go top bar leading, trailing, like so. Tab over, hit enter, and then we can build out our, some of you guys know, remember toolbar. Toolbar, did I spell that wrong? Oh, yeah, lowercase b, toolbar, all lowercase. And then our toolbar item is in there. And then inside of here, we can create a button. And that button is just going to be is add to do sheet dot toggle. So we're just going to toggle that value, and then so that we can start adding items. And then we're going to go ahead and go label autocomplete in Xcode 15 actually seems a lot nicer. So we're going to go image, system image, and here we're going to go Command Shift L. We're going to go plus dot circle, like that. And then we've got our nice little button up here to start adding items. And I think that's it for our toolbar item. Now I think we just need to add our sheet. So line 39 dot spacing. Oh, if just smile. If you're still on, are you like brand new, just beginning Swift development, or are you like coming over from another platform? And if you're looking for like job stuff, like what would be, like what are you looking to learn maybe, and what would be interesting? Or because I've been trying to think of some stuff like what would be good stuff to learn, especially during interviews, which I am terrible at interviews, but yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think if it'd be beneficial to make like a job prep like, I don't know, videos kind of, but then I'm also, like I said, I'm not great at doing interviews, so I don't know. Something I've been thinking about a little bit. Or maybe not job prep. I guess it'd be kind of job prep, like skills that would be handy to, like what and again, these are all opinions up to some extent, but I've gone through a few interviews, so rambling a bit, I think. So we're gonna go ahead and put the parenthesis. That's not parenthesis, colon. That's not parenthesis, I think. There, open brace, and then in here we're just gonna go ahead and create a our view. So this is gonna be VStack, and inside of our VStack we're gonna have a text field. So here we're going to do title, and our title is just going to, write something. So I guess that's a prompt, even though you can do prompts and you can do a lot more text fields. So, but this is going to be pretty basic. And then our binding is going to be to the text, I think I called it. Yeah, text field. I created up on line 15. So, oh, let me know if I'm keeping. I noticed now that we're 45 minutes into this thing. I have like the little video box. So let me know if that's ever blocking the text and I need to scroll up. Sorry about that. Let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to go dot text field style dot border, rounded border, I think is the one we want. And then, don't know why that's like that. Feel like this is a little out of whack, so I'll select and go Control I, but no, it's fine. And add a little padding because this will be stuck right up against the edges if I don't. So I think that's all for the text field itself. We do want to add a save button. So button like that. Yeah, sorry, spacing. We'll just call this one save. That's our title, and then we're going to write our action here. Also, I want to go dot button style dot prominent. Just make it stand out a little more. And then in here, we can of course write the actual logic for our button. So this one, we're going to call our persist function. Persist data 4. We'll just pass in the to do, I think is all we need to do. Oops. Oops. Oh, we don't actually have that to do here. So we will just create a to do. And for the string, we're going to have it be the text field. And then is done, we're going to set to false because we're not going to, that'll be checked off later. So we'll just default it to false. Don't know why it keeps doing that. False, like that. And then we also want to set the text field after we've done this, after we've persisted the data. We want to empty it out, basically. And then we can also toggle the is add view showing, is add to do sheet showing. We're going to toggle that so we dismiss the view. And I think that's pretty much it. Let's see, we can go ahead and run it and see if it works. So Command R. Oh, I'm able to pull this thing off in less than an hour. So here's our view. I'm going to go ahead and quit the app. I got it running. There's our app. Nothing to do here. Tap that. We get a really basic a view where we can add, random stuff here. Just type all that in, hit save. The only way I could do that was, I don't know where that one's going. This is a better to do. Maybe. So we got two things. I'll add one or two more just really quick so we can have you can see it sorting, I guess. We'll go 001 and then we'll go do stuff today. So now we got a couple of items and we can swipe on it. Like I tap on it, nothing happens, nothing happens. If I swipe, I'm going to say it's done. And now it's up here and it's do stuff today. I do notice the coloring isn't working for some reason for our little icon here. So definitely have to look into that, but you can swipe something so that's done. And then when they're in the done state, we should, yep, not done, so you can undo it. And then we'll get that one. So we've got this is a better to do, 001, and then these two are not done. So now I'll quit the app completely, and this is hopefully where it works. Boom. Now we're persisting the data. So hopefully that was okay. Again, we could change these colors. Don't know where I messed that one up. That would have been tint. Did I mess up something with that? It's on the button. I think that's right. Oh, that's on the... I didn't add this to like... Okay, I think I know what the problem is. I didn't add this to the actual... Okay, yeah, I added the secondary and primary, and that's why we were at least getting the text kind of grayed out a little bit. But what we want to also do is change them, or maybe we do. I don't know. We rerun this now, and everything should still be saved, but nope. Oh, I probably don't want that. I want foreground style. There we go. Run that. And that should work. Alright, now we got reds, and except that's backwards. Red. Alright, there we go. Oops. So red isn't done, green is done. So check it off. Oh, right, you don't click. Swiped it, done. Alright. Quit this. Make sure we close down the app completely. Open it back up. And there it is. Well, I hope this was a useful stream. I'll try to do some more live streams and see what we do. But anywho, thank you both for talking in the chat, so I'm not just chatting with myself. And pretty cool. We got some iOS developers to check out the channel that are that close by. Pretty cool. But thanks, and talk to you later.